You are listening to PastThink.com audiobook. Please like and subscribe, thank you. Chapter 54. Dowager Empress Wu meets her future son-in-law in a temple. Xuanda marries a worthy bride. When Lu Su arrives, Xuanda and Kong Ming welcome him, even going outside the city walls to meet him. They accept his expressions of sympathy, and those of Sun Quan on the death of Lu Qi. However, when he raises the issue of whether as a result of this death, and the agreement he had with Kong Ming they will now surrender Jingzhou, the atmosphere changes. This is far from appropriate, says Kong Ming. Xuanda is from the imperial family, whereas Sun Quan is just the son of an insignificant officer from the provinces. Sun Quan is hardly qualified to ask for imperial territory. Furthermore, Lu Qi was the adopted nephew of Xuanda, and what could be more honorable than that an uncle take care of his nephew's lands? Completely flummoxed by all this, Lu Su is eventually persuaded to sign an agreement. This states that, once Xuanda has conquered other territories where he can set up his base, he will hand over Jingzhou. Needless to say, Zhou Yu is far from impressed when Lu Su returns and shows him the document. "He has fooled you again," cries Zhou Yu, "and if this exchange never happens it will be you who is blamed by Lord Sun Quan." Lu Su is greatly alarmed by this, but Zhou Yu tells him to keep it a secret, while he works out a plan to solve it. He is also awaiting news from his spies. They return, telling him that Xuanda has ordered a new tomb to be constructed on the outskirts of the city. Everyone is in mourning because Xuanda's wife Lady Gan has died. "Now I know what to do," says a very pleased Zhou Yu. "Soon you will see Xuanda captured, and then we can sort out Jingzhou." "But what exactly," asks a troubled Lu Su, "is your plan?" "Xuanda needs a new wife," says Zhou Yu, "and our lord has a sister, a real warrior woman with hundreds of armed fighting women guards. We will ask Sun Quan to send an emissary to suggest this marriage, and then, when he comes for the wedding, we will seize Xuanda and demand Jingzhou back as ransom." A day or so later he gives Lu Su the document from Xuanda, and a letter to deliver to Sun Quan, and sends him by fast boat to Nanqiu. When Lu Su presents Sun Quan with the document outlining the agreement, Sun Quan erupts in anger. "What kind of an idiot are you to agree to this?" roars Sun Quan. Then Lu Su presents the letter from Zhou Yu. Having read the outline of the secret plot Zhou Yu is proposing, Sun Quan smiles and begins to think of who would be best to carry out this plan. He needs an emissary to go to Xuanda to propose the marriage. His thoughts turn to his assistant, Lu Fan. "Lu Fan," says Sun Quan, "I want you to go to Xuanda and propose a marriage between himself and my sister, so that our two families and armies will be united. Then we can be comrades in arms against Cao Cao. I've selected you for this auspicious task." Xuanda, meanwhile, has been deeply affected by the death of his wife, and is certainly not himself, so great is his distress. When Lu Fan arrives, Xuanda is discussing issues with Kong Ming. Hearing that the emissary wants to discuss something with Xuanda, Kong Ming hides himself behind a screen to listen in, convinced that this is yet another plot by Zhou Yu. Lu Fan conveys Sun Quan's condolences to Xuanda, and then says that he brings news of a possible new marriage. "Losing one's wife in middle age," says Xuanda, "is a real sadness, but while her body is barely cold in the grave I can't even consider a new match." "But a man without a wife is like a house without its beam," says Lu Fan, and he proceeds to outline why a marriage with the beautiful and skilled sister of Sun Quan would be good for Xuanda and good for the country, especially in opposing Cao Cao. Despite Xuanda's commenting that he is 50, and she is a young woman in her prime, Lu Fan persists in extolling her virtues. She thinks and acts like a man and has said quite categorically that she is only interested in marrying a hero. The only issue to be solved is the Queen Mother, Lady Wu, who adores her daughter, and will need to be personally convinced you are the right one. This is why we hope you will come to the south to meet her and her daughter, so you can decide for yourself. Xuanda asks Lu Fan to retire while he considers this. Kong Ming tells Xuanda that he knew this would be a plot. However, he has consulted the Book of Changes, the I Ching, and the reading is very auspicious. This will play out to our advantage, he says. I recommend that you go ahead with the plans for the wedding. Xuanda is far from certain, convinced as he is that Zhou Yu plans to have him killed. But Kong Ming reassures him that he can easily outwit Zhou Yu. Nevertheless, Xuanda is still far from comfortable with all this. Kong Ming arranges for Sun Qian to go back with Lu Fan and to negotiate the details of the marriage. Sun Quan says how much they want Xuanda to come in person to be married, and this message Sun Qian brings back to Xuanda and Kong Ming. Xuanda is still very unhappy about all this. But Kong Ming again assures him that he has worked out the 3 stages of his strategy, and that the only man capable of carrying them out is Zhao Zilong. Xuanda reluctantly agrees to go, and, just before they depart, Kong Ming takes Zilong on one side and gives him 3 small embroidered bags with 3 documents inside. Use them in this particular order, says Kong Ming, indicating each one when the need arises. So Zilong hides the little bags inside his clothes and sets out. It is late in the year AD 209 when Xuanda, accompanied by Zhao Zilong and Sun Qian, sails with 500 soldiers to Nanshu in the lands of the south. And Xuanda is still far from happy. As the boats pull into the port, Zilong decides it is time to open the first of the 3 bags. He reads the secret message and immediately sends the soldiers into the city with orders to do as he says. Then he says to Xuanda that they should go and pay their respects to elder statesman Qiao. He is the father of the 2 beauties whom Cao Cao has so lusted after, the wives of Sun Quan and Zhou Yu. Their visit is deeply appreciated, and during the meeting they talk happily about the forthcoming nuptials and the invaluable role Lu Fan has played. Meanwhile, the 500 soldiers are out on the town, buying up all the goods necessary to celebrate a grand wedding. They are telling everyone they meet that this is because their lord, Xuanda, is to marry the sister of Sun Quan. Soon everyone is gossiping about this. Elder statesman Qiao goes immediately to convey his congratulations to the Queen Mother. What exactly, asks a rather surprised Queen Mother, is it that you wish to congratulate me upon? Why, the engagement of your dear daughter to Xuanda, of course, says an equally surprised elder statesman Qiao. Are you trying to make a fool of me? I know nothing about this. And so saying, she summons her son to come immediately to see her. While she awaits his arrival, one of her servants has come back to report that the rumor is true. There are soldiers of Lord Xuanda everywhere buying things for the wedding. Lu Fan negotiated this, and Xuanda and Sun Qian are resting in the state guest house. When Sun Quan arrives, it is to find his mother beating her breast and weeping. What's the matter, mother? Asks a worried Sun Quan. What's the matter? Is this how you treat me, as if I'm a person of no consequence? Have you already forgotten the last words of my older sister? A very troubled Sun Quan replies, what are you talking about, mother? Please just tell me frankly why you're so upset. It's of course natural that a man should marry a woman. So it's been since time immemorial. In case you've forgotten, I'm your mother, and I should have been asked for my approval first. How could you not tell me your sister is to marry Xuanda? Is she not also my daughter? Where did you hear this? Asks a now very worried Sun Quan. Are you claiming you know nothing about this? The whole city knows about it, but you forgot to tell me, your mother, her mother. Elder statesman Qiao chips in, saying, indeed, I heard about this some time ago, and came simply to convey my congratulations. No, no, cries a very agitated Sun Quan. You've got it all wrong. This is a plot by Zhou Yu to get back Jingzhou. By pretending there'll be a wedding, we've fooled Xuanda into coming so we can hold him as a prisoner until he's ransomed by giving us back Jingzhou. If that doesn't happen, then we can kill him. It's just a plot. We never intended that there would be an actual wedding. Far from calming his mother, this only infuriates her even more. She takes out her wrath on Zhou Yu, saying, so despite being head of the army he cannot work out how to get Jingzhou back? His only weapon is to use my daughter as a foil. Can you imagine anyone wanting to marry her after this scandal breaks? You will ruin her. Elder statesman Qiao adds his pennyworth by saying, even if this worked, imagine how ridiculous we would appear to the whole world. It'll never work. Sun Quan sits in deep depression while his mother continues to vent her wrath upon him. Eventually, elder statesman Qiao suggests the only way out of this mess is if Xuanda actually does marry her daughter, whereupon the queen mother insists that she must meet this prospective son-in-law. If I don't like him, do what you want. If I do, then I will personally ensure the marriage goes ahead. Arrange for him to come and meet me in Sweet Dew Temple tomorrow. Sun Quan, the filial son, has no option but to accede. However, on Lu Fan's advice he commands Jia Hua to go to the temple early with 300 men in case the queen mother rejects Xuanda, and they need to kill him. When Xuanda is informed of the forthcoming meeting, Zhao Zilong is truly worried and promises to come with the soldiers in case anything goes wrong. So it is that, when the queen mother and elder statesman Qiao have seated themselves and Xuanda is summoned, he puts on a lightweight breastplate and covers it with his ceremonial clothes, while all those attending him come bearing swords. The whole entourage of Xuanda and his officers and the 500 men are greeted by Sun Quan at the doorway to the temple. The moment the queen mother sets eyes upon him, she declares, "This is the son-in-law for me," and Qiao says, "He has the appearance of the dragon and phoenix and the glow as of heaven's sun. He is renowned throughout the world for his benevolence and virtue. Congratulations on acquiring such a splendid son-in-law." Invited to join the banquet that has been set out, Xuanda takes his place. Zhao Zilong appears and whispers that the corridor is full of men armed to the teeth. You should alert the queen mother to this. So Xuanda falls at the feet of the queen mother and, with tears in his eyes, cries, "If it is my death you seek, then do it now." "What on earth are you talking about?" says a startled queen mother. "The temple is crawling with assassins. Why else would they be here?" The queen mother vents her fury upon her son. "Now he's my son-in-law, Xuanda is my son. So why are there murderers lurking here? Answer me." Sun Quan denies any knowledge and calls for Lu Fan, who in turn blames Jia Hua. The queen mother would have had him executed if Xuanda had not pleaded, as her new son-in-law, that she show mercy so that their relationship does not start off on an inauspicious note. Jia Hua slinks away with his terrified men. Later, Xuanda is walking in the temple grounds when he sees a large rock. Asking for a sword, he looks up to heaven and says, "If my fate is to return to Jingzhou and succeed in becoming king, let this sword split this rock. If my fate is to die here, let the stone survive intact." With that he strikes the stone a mighty blow, and it splits in two. Sun Quan has been watching all this. He steps forward and asks, "Lord Xuanda, what exactly have you got against this stone?" "I am nearly 50, but I've failed in my task of ridding the country of traitors, and this distresses me greatly. But now, honored by the queen mother in being invited to be her son-in-law, I feel this is an auspicious moment. So I asked heaven that if indeed my time has come to destroy Cao Cao and revive the Han dynasty, then let me split the rock, and it has happened." Not to be outdone, Sun Quan also implores heaven openly if he too will be given help to destroy Cao Cao, but secretly he asks that if he is to regain Jingzhou, and his lands are to prosper, that the rock split again. Bringing his sword down, he too splits the rock. To this day the rock remains with the cross cuts in it, and is known as the Rock of Hatred. A poet visiting this site has written as follows. The swords slash down, and the mountain rocks split. Metal rings out, and sparks fizz. The creation of two houses heaven decrees. And from now on, there will be three. Returning to the hall hand in hand, they retake their seats. After a little more drinking, Sun Quan glances at Xuanda, who says, "My apologies. The wine is too much for me. Allow me to retire." Sun Quan walks with him out of the hall, and they stand on the veranda and contemplate the view. "This truly is the best view in the world," says Xuanda, "and still today you can see the steel carved with those very words." Xuanda sighs gently and says, "Southerners are sailors and Northerners are horsemen." Thinking that Xuanda is mocking his ability to ride, Sun Quan orders his horse brought. He leaps on it, charges downhill, and then comes tearing back up. So, says Sun Quan, Southerners are not horsemen, eh? In response, Xuanda leaps onto his horse and tears down the hill, and comes galloping back up. Roaring with laughter at their exploits, the two men sit atop the hill, which to this day is still known as the hill where the horses stopped. Then, still laughing, the two men return to the city. The local people of Nanshu watch these antics and smile, for this all seems very auspicious. On their return, Sun Qian urges Xuanda to go and see elder statesman Xiao in order to ensure the wedding takes place very soon, before any other plots can bring disaster. This Xuanda does, and Xiao says to have no worries and assures them he will take care of this. The Queen Mother invites Xuanda and his entire troop to be her guests until the day of the wedding, which is held but a few days later. The night of the wedding, after the guests have left them alone, Xuanda makes his way to the bridal chamber. Walking down the long corridors, he cannot but help noticing the vast array of weapons and the women guards with their swords. He is so overcome with fright that he feels as if his very soul is fleeing from his body. Is this another plot to kill him? We must find out.